There is a whole thing now, especially here on YouTube, about millennials wanting help in this economy and expecting the boomers, I guess, to pay for it because the target seems to be the boomer generation. Why can't they just help out? Why can't we can't even get into a house? You know, they got plenty of money. They got vacation houses. Why can't we? Why can't they help us out? And all the reasons why it's wrong. They want their inheritance and they want it now. The trouble with that is multifold. Number one, that's not your money. It's theirs. Number two, maybe they did help you out along the years. Is the economy screwed possibly beyond repair? Most likely. Did the boomer generation have a huge hand in that? Yeah, most likely. Or certainly. I think they kind of did as most generations do. If something is beneficial to you along the way, you utilize it and improve your position. Just like your generation's doing, just like my generation's doing, and have done, and will continue to do. It's kind of the natural way of things. If the fruit tree's in bearing, you get all the fruit you can carry. Take it back to the house. Now you got more than what you started with. Same thing with money. Now the trouble with that is all the laws and all the crap that they installed to protect their position, they call it pulling the ladder up behind them. You know, they climb the ladder to the top and then pull it up where nobody else can get to. That's a bunch of crap. And I'm not going to pretend that it isn't. But I'm talking about general people here, the regular populace. That money is theirs. They worked for it, one way or another, most likely. Do you think the silent generation had a lot to give to the boomer generation to get them started and get them going? Maybe some of them got help along the way. You can't throw in the outliers. You just spend all day rifling through the weeds. It's that there's outliers in anything. Let me tell you a quick story. My grandfather was actually of the silent generation, whereas most people my age, their grandfathers were boomers, usually early boomers, or, you know, it's all the crap, the arbitrary nonsense about picking a date and what generation you belong to. I already did a video on Generation X. Brief, but you get the picture. Anywho, so my grandpa was technically silent generation. Well, his dad died when he was very young. His mother ran things for a while. Through monumental effort, made it through the Great Depression. Well, she remarried, and the guy she remarried was a piece of crap. He was an alcoholic. He beat her. It was just a mess. That guy eventually dies. Probably, I think, maybe drank himself dead. I can't remember. Doesn't matter. Anywho, Grandma, my great-grandmother, can't run the farm. She just couldn't do it all. Just so happenstantial, new word, my grandpa's house gets destroyed in a flood, a massive flood that just, that took the little shanty and just floated it on down and destroyed it in the process. And he's basically homeless around about this time. So they come up with this agreement where my grandpa moves back home to the farm and runs the farm. That becomes his job, a full-time job. He didn't get paid. Now he's got housing, he's got shelter, but it's not really his. He couldn't, I don't imagine, just add on or subtract or remodel or whatever as he wanted to. It's not his, and he's working for free. My great-grandmother dies. You would think 30 years or whatever it was that grandpa's running the farm, that it's his now. But it wasn't. He had to buy out his siblings because they wanted their inheritance. Mom's dead. That farm, part of that's mine on a farmer's wages. And mind you, he didn't have a back pile of wages because he wasn't being paid to run the farm. But over time and through a lot of hard work and robbing Peter to pay Paul and shifting stuff around, he got them paid off. And after another 18 years or whatever it was, the farm was finally his, except it's still just a farm. And any farmer that's ever farmed can tell you that there's no money in farming. What that translated to was no inheritance from my mother. She did inherit $1,000, and she was thrilled to death to get that paid a big chunk of 1 year's property taxes for it. Well, now we fast forward to my mother, who was not good at money management. Smart as a woman as she was, managing money was not one of her strong points, but because of the resounding, booming economy that she just so happened to be born into and live through, she was able to accumulate things in life and worked hard, as did my dad. You fast forward all the way to her death, through poor management and mismanagement and squandering of money and iffy decisions and this blind insistence that you had to have health care at all times for everyone, including children that never went to the hospital to utilize it. There is no inheritance by the end of it. Sort of $6,000 per kid, and there was a crap ton of kids. I thought for sure it would be a bill. Thrilled to death. Never once did I tell her, I think you ought to sell this house and let me have the money now, because it wasn't mine. And it isn't yours. Whatever boomer relative you have or Gen X relative you have, and maybe they're well-to-do and maybe they've played by the rules or not and made a success of their lives materially, that's theirs. It isn't yours. Well, why can't they just help us out? Maybe they have. Along the way. Did you ever get $50 for your birthday? Never in my wildest dreams could I imagine getting $50 on my birthday as a child. Sometimes I got $5 and I was thrilled to death to get it. Did they give you $100 or $500 for your high school graduation or college graduation? That's helping out. Did they give you a loan in a pinch? And don't get me wrong, stuff happens to everyday people all the time. It always has. It always will. And for whatever set of circumstances, you find yourself in a financial crunch. And we got to have $8,000 to pay for this surgery, or who knows what could happen, whatever the case. And maybe they told you, we can help you out here, but it's a loan. It isn't a gift. Oh, thanks. Thank you. You've saved the day. And then you extrapolate through time. There's never any attempt to repay this money. It was a loan. It wasn't a gift because it's not your money. And all of a sudden, well, you should see John's new truck. It's got every bell and whistle, kind of bragging about it. Showing up with the fanciest new $1,500 phone, and the new shoes, and the new clothes, and the new hairstyle, and the new nails. New. All this stuff costs money. And there's got to be a thought in there somewhere from the one that helped you out in your pinch, thinking, what about me? Where's my money at? I loaned it to you, expecting to get it back. And then another crisis comes up, because they do, further down the road. Grandma, Grandpa, can you just help us out? And the fancy truck broke down, and we don't have the $6,000 it takes to fix it, and on and on and on. Well, they loaned you money once. You didn't even try to pay it back. Should they just give it to you again? And then how long before, are they a bank? But they're not even a bank. Banks want their money back. Are they an ATM where you just get, gimme? And this cacophony of racket. Look at all that they have, and why can't we have some of it? It's not yours. I got a lot of videos up, and a ton of times I'll side with the young people. Have they been screwed? Yes. We all have. Have they been done wrong in every marketplace that there is? Yes. Are the wages too low? Yes. Is the inflation too high? Yes. Is the systems corrupt? Yes. Always has been, man. Now, yeah, there was that era of prosperity. It's gone. It ain't ever coming back, man. I understand that. I get it. But the audacity to demand some of yours for me. This is what happens when you get $1,000 on your graduation day. Gimme, 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 gimme. What I eventually see happening is that the government's going to come for all of it. Because it turns out, while we weren't paying attention, that they've racked up $35 trillion worth of debt. Yeah, I didn't, you didn't, but they did. And they have no way to pay for it. So they're either going to get it through in taxes or they're going to get it from confiscation. They're going to come after the individual retirement amounts. They're going to come up with all these new, you're changing the rules now. The rules that people played by and worked their whole lives and did it by the book. And now you're changing the rules because we want ours. So this isn't going to be anything to give. Now, I will say, now's probably the time, if you're that well off and things have worked that well in your favor, now is probably the time to start rearranging things and gifting things out. Or, I mean, you don't even have to gift it. I want to buy my kids' old speaker system, and I'm going to give them $25,000 for that speaker system and a bill of goods and a receipt and the whole transaction. So it's not income. There's all kinds of that kind of ways around stuff. But now's the time to do that. I will say that. But this notion that you can demand, and they didn't help me out at all. Really? At all? Ever? Didn't feed you and clothe you for 18, 20 years? And a lot of that's coming back, they got the boomerang thing going on where they can't afford to live in this economy. A lot of that not their fault. And so the parents still aren't done. Still not done helping the kid, raising the, maybe they're not giving you stacks of cash every month, but you got a roof over your head. It can get a complicated thing, but man, the stuff that I've seen, this demanding, you have it and I need it or want it. Doesn't matter. That's a pretty audacious take, man. You might ought to stop and reconsider. And then to read the comments and my parents never helped me and they're going to be surprised when they get old and I ain't going to help them. I mean, if that's the dynamics in your family, have a field day with it. There's nothing I can do to fix it. I'm just offering up a counter perspective and maybe a counter argument to this narrative, this audacity of demanding. You have it. You earned it probably. And I want it now. So it's like the prodigal son, the parable in the Bible. It's not good enough that I'll be taken care of pretty handsomely upon your death. No, I want mine now. Well, look how that story worked out. Maybe a different video. I don't know. Hey, man. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your time. If you want to share the video or whatever, you know, it's a free country. You do with it what you want to. But I do appreciate your time. I wanted you to know that. I thank you. I'll see you next time.